Hey everybody, Joe Joseph here for thedailysheeple.com, and this is your news shot. Let's go to Project Veritas. Boy, oh boy, did they have a great video that exposed a senior network security engineer at Twitter, and he revealed that Twitter is ready to give Trump's private DMs straight over to the DOJ. That's right. They're more than happy to help. Ah, yes. Let's get that dirty Trumpster out of office. It says a Project Veritas undercover investigation has revealed a senior network security engineer at Twitter stating that his company's more than happy to turn over the private communications and deleted tweets of President Donald Trump to the DOJ. If true, it is yet unknown whether Trump is voluntarily disclosing this sensitive information or acting under a court order. Twitter is currently in the midst of defending itself from left-leaning criticism that President Trump hasn't been removed from the enormous media platform for violations of Twitter's terms of service. According to his LinkedIn profile, Clay Haynes has been employed at Twitter since September 2016, probably not for much longer. And on January 3rd, 2018, he met with Project Veritas undercover journalists at Stooky's Club in San Francisco using a hidden camera. The Veritas team captured Haynes stating that we're more than happy, he said, to help the DOJ with their little investigation. And when prompted by the investigator, Mr. Haynes provided additional details. He said, quote, basically giving them every single tweet that he posted, even the ones he deleted, any direct messages, any mentions. He continued to say, he's dangerous. I don't like him. And he's terrible. He's a terrible human being, and I want to get rid of him. The self-described bleeding heart liberal Haynes said in the video about President Trump, in fact, we had internal reviews about it. Imagine that. Now, on January 7th, James O'Keefe himself went undercover with Haynes at Morton Steakhouse in San Francisco to confirm if Twitter was working with the Department of Justice to hand over Trump's tweets and DMs. When pressed about Donald Trump's messages, Haynes explained this, quote, we have a subpoena process for that very reason. And he continued. He says, I can't comment on whether he's working with the DOJ, and he wouldn't comment. And the fact is, even if Haynes was just speculating about helping justice, his admission shows a clear and dangerous political bias at the highest levels of Twitter. Not to mention the fact, folks, think about this for a second. If Twitter is willing to take on the president of the United States, whether it be President Obama, whether it be President Trump, or anyone else, how do you think they feel about you? This here speaks to all of you out there that have claimed censorship on the part of Twitter, on the part of Facebook, on the part of YouTube, on the part of Google. We've all been subject to it. We all see what happens when they manipulate their algorithms, when they limit the reach of your content. And it's difficult because we're in a sticky wicket. The sticky wicket is they're private corporations. And as private corporations, they can dictate the ground rules of their sites as long as they don't discriminate. The problem with all these new policies that they're putting out is they're very discriminatory towards a certain sector of people. And in this case, independent media or anybody that does not have an opinion that goes along with the narrative that the government's trying to push or that special interests are trying to push, my friends, that is illegal. So while they have free reign over the ability to lay out ground rules for everybody, those ground rules have to apply to everybody. And if they don't apply to everybody, then their policy is discriminatory. If they're not applying it equally across the board to everybody. So whereas, yes, it's a private corporation, they can get away with it. They cannot get away with discrimination. And I can't believe that there hasn't been lawsuitapalooza going on in federal court with regards to this, because I think it's a pretty easy victory and something that's very easy to prove, because you need not look any farther than the mainstream media to see that every post that they put up, every story that they publish, is posted with a far reach. They're not restricted to who they can reach. Go to Facebook. Look at NBC News. Look at how many likes they get. Look at a comparable independent media site. And believe me, folks, there are independent media sites that get just as much, if not more, traffic than NBC News. But you'll come to find out that NBC News seems to have just so many more interested people to be lied to. And unfortunately, that's just not the truth. The truth is, they let through the people they want to let through, and they censor the people they want to censor. And that, my friends, and I'll say it a million times, is discrimination. It's discrimination. The mainstream media puts out as much fake stuff as any other entity out there and should be subject to the same rules, which they are not. And what Mr. O'Keefe did was expose exactly what's going on throughout all of mainstream social networking and mainstream media. You see a deep-seated collusion between the government, between special interest groups that pay big bucks to not get censored, to pay big bucks to get unlimited reach. And then you have the little guys like us that are the outsiders, the outliers, that have to fight, scratch, and claw to get our content out there. So what's the solution? The solution, of course, would be some sort of lawsuit. I'm sure we can get a class action status for as many people as are censored by these platforms. And I would say it's pretty easy to prove, especially with investigative journalists like James O'Keefe, to show the type of discrimination that takes place. And once that happens, folks, we got them. The fallback to that is don't support them. Don't go to Facebook. Don't go to YouTube. Don't go to Google. But if you do that, right, what do? That's a problem. So it's kind of a double-edged sword, not to mention the fact that I've seen over the years competitors spring up. And oftentimes they get popular. And when they get popular, these big corporations like your Googles, like your Facebooks, scoop them up. They buy them out. They make them an offer they can't refuse, and then they shelf the company. A good example of that was PayPal. PayPal for years was the only game in town, because as soon as somebody else came out and started providing whatever minuscule competition there was, PayPal gave them an offer they can't refuse, and that competitor went away. So this is the stuff that we face. But I can tell you this, more and more evidence is coming out to just how corrupt these social media platforms are and just how detrimental to society they really are. Whereas once, in their infancy, they were fabulous tools to network with individuals and to spread the word, whatever words you want to put out. But today, no more. Unless you're doing fuzzy kittens or parroting official narratives. I'm Joe Joseph. This was thedailysheeple.com's News Shot. Feel free to comment below and visit our website, thedailysheeple.com. # Wake the Flock Up. Have a great day, everybody.